Poppy Playtime Chapter 4 is considered to be the worst chapter by fans. From its bad gameplay, graphics, and launch, this all made it to where it left a permanent scar on this game. And it's unfortunate because its predecessor, Poppy Playtime Chapter 3, was really good graphically, story-wise. Everything about Chapter 3 was good. So the hopes for Chapter 5 was high, in hopes that it wouldn't be like Poppy Playtime Chapter 4. And it definitely wasn't. Poppy Playtime Chapter 5, following 4, is a major improvement in graphics and storytelling, lore, all of that. For us Poppy Playtime fans, this is everything we could have wanted. Let's dive into the review. I think bringing Huggy Wuggy back in Poppy Playtime Chapter 5 is what really made this chapter one of the best. First, Huggy Wuggy is genuinely one of the best characters in Poppy Playtime. So bringing him back not only added that nostalgia to the game, but also made for an extremely impactful ending, which I'll get into later. Although I think the stealth section, which I'm showing right now, could have been a little more difficult, but not like Yarnaby level difficult. But I did want to talk about one of the parts I didn't like about this chapter. It mainly has to do with Huggy Wuggy, which is why it's in this section. I think besides the beginning chase scene, which was really cool, some of the chase scenes just got super annoying when you kept dying on them and it lost its value. After you keep dying on a chase scene, it just gets to the point where you're like, dude, can we just get over this? Like, I don't want to do this no more, which is what it got to at certain parts. So here's an example of when this happened on stream and I got frustrated. What am I supposed to do? I don't see where to go. To be fair, I was being kind of stupid and where to go was right in front of me, but still, that's a good example. When it gets to a point where you don't want to do it anymore, the chasing again has lost its value and you just don't want to do it anymore. And a chase scene is supposed to be cool and it's supposed to be scary. So when you keep shoving like 3 chase scenes every few minutes into like the player's face, it's just annoying. But with all that being said, I do think Huggy Wuggy is a great addition to the chapter and I enjoyed his presence whenever he was on screen. And yeah, I liked him. Now, Lily is complicated for me as a character, because while she is good, there is some flaws with her that's just completely impossible to ignore. For example, at some points, or a lot, she's just plain annoying, like just really annoying. And second, she is undeniably very similar to Mommy Longlegs, to like points where like even in like chasing, she's like counting down like how Mommy did in Chapter 2. Whether this was intentional or not, I don't know. But it kind of ruined how original of a concept she could have been. Now, the dollhouse scene in general, or dollhouse chase, is probably the most scared I felt in the chapter, and I'll get to that soon. But I really did enjoy her little chase scene, even though it was kind of like PJ Pugapillar, with like the stopping when the music stops. And one thing that kind of ruined this section for me though was the puzzles. The puzzles were very confusing. I had to get chat to help me because like it ruined the pace for me because we were already doing pretty good getting towards the dollhouse, and then all these puzzles like shoved in your face just made it to where I wanted to get off and like take a break. Obviously I didn't want to do that because I was already a day late and I didn't want to see spoilers for the game. But all those puzzles make it really hard to go and replay the game and actually have fun. But I think Lily as a character, I would say is, I don't know. I feel like, one thing I did want to mention, she felt really random to be in a lab. Like, I don't understand why this would be in a lab, like Lily herself. And I don't know the lore, like, maybe in the lore, this is actually an extremely important area that benefits the rest of however many chapters there's gonna be. With all that being said, I do think Lily is an okay character, and with all the filler that is in this game, I feel like she was the best. And yeah, that's really it for this section. The gameplay of this chapter is one of the main reasons that this chapter falls a little short for me. Like, I like the addition of the yellow hand, or the elemental hand, and the pressure hand, and having the red hand back. But like being able to like, I mean, zip across the map or whatever, I don't know what it is, like that's not that interesting to me in terms of gameplay. Now the puzzles. Let's get into the puzzles, dude. The puzzles is probably what has ruined the game for me. If they didn't have so many puzzles in this game, I think that this probably could top Chapter 3. Okay, maybe not Chapter 3, but still, dude, it got to a point like where even some streamers, I think like IShowSpeed, just stopped playing and took a break because they were so tired of it. I really do hope that Mob learns for the future of Chapter 6 that puzzles after puzzles aren't enjoyable for replay value or even just first time plays. But I will say, when it wasn't just puzzles and there was actually interesting stuff going on, like chase scenes that were actually good and enjoyable, and like cutscenes and stuff, that's where the chapter really is great, honestly. Now on to the final section of the video. Here we go. Starting off with the story, I want to talk about the prototype. I think the prototype was the best part of this chapter, and I actually love his design. Especially his beginning opener scene, whatever you want to call it. I think when he first appeared, there's just something about it that looks so uncanny, dreamlike, dissociating. I don't know how to describe it. But like when he got up on screen, something just like, everything about him didn't feel right. He just like looked like such a cursed entity, and it's like, I think they did a great job with that scene. But moving on from the prototype and talking about mainly the story itself, I honestly had no idea where I was going a lot of the time. And I still don't know what like the backup is, and a lot of the things in the chapter didn't make much sense. I was just walking around. I was excited, obviously, but I didn't pick up much of what the objective was in the end. And to be fair, some of that probably was my fault. And I get that, but I feel like they could have made it a little more clear what was going on. But now I want to talk about the ending. The ending saved this chapter. I feel like if the ending was any different, I wouldn't have liked this chapter as much as I did. It definitely was a risk killing Kissy and Huggy, but I feel like if they were planning to do this in any other way, it wouldn't have been as good. I feel like this was the best way they could have killed them off. But I'm not sure if Huggy is dead because his eyes were open when he was stabbed. Bro, and Kissy should not have gone for the punch or whatever she was planning to do to the prototype, because she got pieced up, bro. Yeah, I thought it was pretty funny, but like when it happened for the first time, like I was like screaming no. Like I was like pretty like sad that happened, because we didn't get much screen time when it comes to like Kissy and Huggy both together. So seeing them like together how they were was really cool, and we didn't get to see much of that. Prototype boss fight. This has to be the best part of the game. The prototype is so menacing in this, and the way he's just bursting through these windows with his claws, or whatever you call them, and trying to get you, it's just so intense, and it's so scary, and it's just awesome. I think the train setting of this made it even more scary, and I just loved it, dude. I was hoping for the final boss of this chapter that the prototype would be a little more difficult to at least get off of you. I wish there was a little more puzzles on the train setting and make it like more intense and stuff. But it was kind of just a repeat of like switching hands, which that also got super annoying. And despite this not being the final chapter, which I'll get into later, I do think they utilized the prototype good. I think I'm glad that he didn't have like a lot of screen time. And some people have complained that he should have got more screen time. But I feel like if he did, people would just complain about that. And people are already complaining about this being too little of screen time for him. So like, you're never gonna win when it comes to like game developing and this kind of stuff. Now let's get into the final ending, like the last few minutes of it. First, once again, dude, everything about the prototype is so unsettling. The way he runs up to you and just like is laughing like maniacally and then stabs you, that was insane when that first happened. I was like shocked, and just like his laughing while he goes to grab for either the Poppy or us. Everything about that was just so creepy, dude. Yeah, I love how they utilized the prototype, especially in the final scenes with him. But I will have to say, I am so frustrated that there's going to be a chapter 6. This series should have ended right here. It was perfectly set up for it to end here. Kissy died, Huggy maybe died. It could have been longer because it felt like this was shorter than chapter 4. So it could have been longer, giving us more time to defeat the prototype, and then maybe giving us like an ending like this, a cool ending where we actually die. I know it would feel unsatisfying, but it's realistic. And maybe the ending isn't exactly like this, but I just really think they did a great job with it. So ending it here would be perfect if they just did some of the things that I suggested. I'm not saying like all of my ideas are perfect and stuff, but I do think that some of these improvements could have prevented some of the backlash that this game did get, which is actually not a little, it's a lot. But wow, this video is like 10 minutes long. I didn't think it was gonna be this long. So if you watched to the end, I really do appreciate you. It means a lot. I worked a lot on this video. I worked pretty hard on it, and I'm sorry that I'm late to it, but yeah, I really did enjoy this chapter, but it's not perfect at all. Like, I do think chapter 3 is way better, and my hopes for chapter 6 is that they just take their time like they did with this one. This one was a major improvement. Just take their time, but make it more horror. Horror is why chapter 3 is considered the best chapter. And yeah, it's the best chapter because it holds on to that horror that Poppy Playtime was known for, and ever since chapter 4 it hasn't been the same. So yeah, those are my suggestions and my thoughts about it, and if you enjoyed, please leave a like and subscribe. I appreciate all y'all. Peace out.